All right, Krug Show in Vegas with Niners center Jake Brendel, and they always say if you want to know about football, talk to the offensive line. Why is that? Offensive linemen seem like they have a perspective on the game, Jake, that's cerebral. If I ask you in the post game about the game, you can't tell me much because you're in a phone booth fighting a guy, right? But if I can tell you a day after you watch the film, you guys seem like you have a great breakdown. Do you agree? I mean, where's that come from?
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of starts and ends with us up front. If we don't do our jobs, the offense just isn't going to work. You can throw as many swing passes as you want, but the offensive line doesn't do their job. It's going to be hard to win the game. I think it really just comes down to how hard we are on ourselves and how high of an expectation we have for ourselves. Coming out of the game, we really don't know. It's always not as good as you think. It's always not as bad as you think. Just until you watch the film, right? And then you can actually break down what happened and just make the corrections from there. Yeah, I would totally agree. Talk to Trent or talk to me a couple days after a game. I'll give you a nice recap of what happened.
You guys, the one thing I will say about you guys, nobody on this team on either side of the ball or in the front office ever makes excuses. Nobody makes excuses. But how bad has the turf been this week on this practice field? I mean, it's been so much talked about it, but you're such a straight shooter. I mean, describe what it is, what you normally have. Describe what this was.
I mean, our grounds people in Santa Clara are the best in the business.
Are they?
Yeah. I mean, like the grass that we've had at our home facility has been great all season. Anytime they need to replace it, they'll go in there and they'll replace it. And it'll be perfect like 2 or 3 days after that. So they do a really good job coming here. I mean, it's obvious that the grass is on top of an artificial turf. It's a little spongy, but I'm not saying it's not serviceable because it is. We did 2 full speed practices on it, and it works. So that's it.
All right. So it's not much ado about nothing, but at the same time, it wasn't a hazard.
Yeah,
or,
it
wasn't ideal.
It's a serviceable field. Right? It did its job. It'll do its job tomorrow on our Friday practice as well. I'm not worried about that. A lot of guys worked their butts off to make that happen. So yeah, I feel like they did a pretty good job of what they were doing.
Turf aside, how were the practices this week?
They were good. Very, very productive. I feel like putting the pads on today did nothing but help us, to be honest. Being able just to go full speed into the combo blocks, full speed into some of the pass fits, and like the rush fits that that's just the work we need, right? So I feel like we're in a good spot going into tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll just put kind of a cherry on top of the plan, and then Saturday we'll do our walkthrough and we'll be ready to go.
A lot of guys in the room do have this experience of being in this game. What kinds of things were the veterans sharing with the young guys this week about just, I don't know, and I know you don't over-talk things. A lot of times the Super Bowl, these storylines get dramatized, but experience is always a good thing, especially in an event of this magnitude. What advice were the older guys giving the younger guys?
Really, it was all about focus and refocus. Make sure that all this other stuff that's not your normal routine, just make sure it doesn't take anything away from your game and your game prep. Because that's the last thing you would want to do is not put your best out there on Sunday, especially in the Super Bowl on that stage. So they honestly were just, hey, embrace it. Obviously, remember it because it doesn't happen often, and just take advantage of it because it's an incredible opportunity, and you just don't want to waste it with any sort of, you're just not feeling good on game day or you haven't done your routine to a T. You just got to make sure that that's all buttoned up going into Sunday.
Tell me about what you see on film from Kansas City. What do they look like that you can share with us?
Yeah, I feel like they've been really good, especially in this post game games that they played. You know exactly what Chris Jones is. I feel like he's going to play his ball. You got to have a plan for that guy, just because he can be a problem if you don't take care of him. and the rest of the guys in their front seven, I feel like they're all great players. Their linebackers are a great linebacker core. They're strong, they're fast. It's kind of akin to what we got here a little bit when it comes to the way that they fit runs, the way that they cover passes. So it is kind of a lot of good on good when it comes to practice, just because we're kind of playing the same scheme that they play a little bit when it comes to technique as well. So yeah, it's impressive defensive line and impressive defensive front seven. We just got to make sure we're on our best when it comes to Sunday.
How do you feel Brock's going to play in this game? He's a young man, but it seems like he's played well with money on the table, Jake, and looked really good at the end of a number of games this year where team struggled, but man, he looked good all the way through. What do you think? What do you expect to see from Brock? How's he look this week in practice?
No, he looks like Brock, right? He's super consistent. I feel like he's exactly on track to be exactly what we need him to be on game day. Being able to have full speed routes in practice is definitely a benefit for him and for the receivers. Just gets the timing down to where we need it to be for all the routes and all the route trees. And then in the run game, like he's exactly what he has been for a year and a half. Knows exactly what the game plan is, knows exactly how to execute it, and he knows his job on every single play, and he gets us in the right spot, which is what a quarterback is supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, and he plays with a lot of poise. I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't seem like the guy gets rattled for a young guy. Many young quarterbacks, it's common, right, that they get rattled. This guy doesn't seem like he gets too rattled. One last one. I know you guys are creatures of routine, right? So you're probably going to do your same routine on game day. What is your routine? But it's a game of such incredible magnitude. It's amazing what this game has become internationally, and But I mean, what's it like to play in a game where the whole world is going to stop and watch? I mean, do you think about that at all, or are you just so consumed with the game plan and doing your assignments correct that you don't ever let yourself think about that?
Yeah, I mean, like just looking back at the biggest games that I've played in, you really do have to make it as simple as possible, right? Boil it down to what the actual key components of it are, and it is just a football game.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the preparation thing, you don't want to go into something like this ill-prepared, right? So you got to make sure you're just preparing as much as you can, watching the film, making sure you're working on your technique, make sure those practices are valuable and at the speed that you need them to be going into that game, and really just try and just cut out as much of the noise and as much of the other stuff as possible, and just focus on playing football, because that's what it is, and that's what our job is.
Good luck on Sunday, Jake. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.